All right, well, we're going to get started. I want to welcome you to the Ramsey County Board Workshop. Today's workshop topic is the strategic priorities around advancing a holistic approach to strengthening individuals and families, family-centered coaching. Courtesy reminder that the board workshop is recorded and it is live streamed on Zoom webinar. There will be no votes taken during this workshop. So why don't we start with introductions of commissioners and presenters around the table, and then we'll do the rest of the room. So I will open up, we'll go around.
Hey.
I am.
You start.
Okay. Ramsey County Commissioner, District 4, Rena Moran. Ramsey County Commissioner. Rena Moran. Ramsey County Commissioner.
Mary Jo McGuire, Commissioner, District 2.
Karen Jevon Singh, Commissioner, District 1.
Mai Chong Zhang, Commissioner for District 6.
Harris McMurtry, Commissioner for District 3.
Kelly Miller, Commissioner for District 7.
Elder Mary Kay Boyd, not a commissioner.
Hi, I'm Hannah Corbett, Early Childhood Coordinator for Health and Wellness Administration.
Dana DeMaster, Health and Wellness Director of Innovation and Strategy.
Lynn Becker, County Manager.
Okay, we're gonna start here and go.
Stevenson Morgan, Principal Assistant to Commissioner Rena Moran, Ramsey County District 4.
Thomas Farron, your Chief Quincy. Teresa O'Neill, Director of Workforce Solutions. Pamela Bain, Public Health.
In the front here, to the left.
Rachel Smith, family coach with the Economic Mobility Health for American Indians in East Metro.
Rich Chantel, Program Service Manager, American Indian Family Center.
Nicole Bean, American Community Coordinator of Ramsey County.
Alfreda Flowers, Family Daughters for Life Founder and Community Ambassador. Anna Lynn Hayes, supporter.
Amen.
Sarah Otten, Program Evaluator. Carissa Dillon, the Security Coordinator. Amy Karen, Public Health Director. Teresa Alderson Lee, Director for Department of Indian Work. Sparkle Kavanaugh, Family Coach for the, sorry, I'm nervous. For the health.
Bonjour, I'm Nicole Martin Rogers. I'm a project manager consultant for the Economic Mobility Hub.
I'm Janice LeBlanc, the director at the Montessori American Indian Child Care Center with the Economic Mobility Hub.
Elijah Norris Holiday, Safety and Justice Planning Manager.
Good afternoon, Larry Timmerman, Policy Planner.
Hi, good afternoon, Lindsay Menard, Policy and Planning. Jen Hammer, Policy and Planning.
Veronica Jackson, Race and Health Equity Administrator.
Willow, Family Coach at the Economic Mobility Hub. Here is Shaw, Outreach and Connections Worker for the Jane, Chief Clarkson.
Zephyr Policy and Planning.
Well, welcome, everyone.
Oh, yeah, they came in after.
Alex Spencer, Deputy County Manager for Health and Wellness. Karen Francois, Deputy County Manager for Information and Public Records.
All right, we have a full room, so welcome, everyone. So this morning, we focus on the strategic priority around advancing a holistic approach to strengthen individuals and families. It's both a goal and an actionable strategy identified in this strategic priority. In this strategic priority is the family coaching model. So we're going to focus on family coaching model. This afternoon, we look forward to learning more about this model and hearing from our community partners and family coaches. Our Director of Innovation and Strategy, Dana DeMaster, will start the conversation.
Thank you, Chair Moran. I'm just super excited about this board workshop. And I mean, I'm really, really excited. And the Center of Family Coaching at Ramsey County and how it's evolved and how it's become has really been our community partners, and it's been really community driven. And most of the presenters today are not Ramsey County staff, and that was incredibly intentional because this is something that is at its heart about community. Hannah Corbett, our Early Childhood Coordinator, and Elder Mary Kay Boyd will be starting out by telling you the history of how it came to be here And as well, what is family coaching and some about our numbers and family served and that sort of thing. And then the three organizations we're currently working with will be coming up to tell their story and, you know, about the work they do. And then Hannah and I will finish up with last steps. But I wanted to note that throughout my time being involved with Family Coach, I've learned, like, I can't even begin to describe how much I've learned about truly centering community and what it means to be a partner with community. I thought I knew before, and now like I knew some things, right? And now this experience has really changed the way that I approach my work in all of aspects of my job, not just about Family Coach. And so like the elders, I just like, I want to tear up. I've learned so much from them, and their guidance and support and commitment has been incredible. I mean, Elder Mary Kay Boyd, Elder Flowers is here, but also Montague Adams, Abidel Gadea was heavily involved in the beginning of the work. And then Shelley Fountain are all just so committed to this, and not only committed to Family Coach, but making Ramsey County a county that is responsive to community. And their commitment and patience is incredible. And so I am very grateful for them. And that's all I can really say in the introduction and the welcome, but we're super excited to have all three of the organizations here and their staff and supporters and Elder Mary Kay and as well to present. So I'll hand it over to Hannah and Mary Kay.
Well, thank you, Chair Moran, Commissioners. My name is Hannah Corbett. As I shared, I'm the Early Childhood Coordinator. One of my biggest roles is to provide technical and operational support for the Family Coaching Program. So I've worked with all of these folks today, Elder Mary Kay included, and have really gotten to witness a lot of that kind of community rallying around this program, which has been amazing to see. The last time we shared about family coaching was back in December 2023. I was not in my role at that time, and I think many of you weren't either. So a lot of this is new to us, and it's exciting to be able to share more today and dive into it together. In a moment, I'm gonna pass it over to Elder Mary Kay to kind of speak to the background and the inception of this program. And I just want to thank those original members of the Equity Action Circle. Again, many of those folks still meet today under a new name, the Family and Youth Equity Committee. Basically the same group of people doing a lot of the same work and just helping to provide accountability and support for the family coaching program. Since we last were here and presented, we've hired additional coaches. Many more families have been supported. And we have new projects like a community of practice and evaluation on the horizon. So I'll be sharing more about that in a bit, but for now I want to hand it over to Elder Mary Kay to hear more about that background.
This is really delightful. Chair Moran, Commissioners, Manager Lingbecker. I am going to have a pretty hard time trying to stay with the exact thing that's up there. So you can read, I'm not gonna read it for you because it's been 5 years of work, and to put that into about 20 minutes of presentation really is kind of a struggle, but I'll do the best I can. This has been kind of a cultural as well as spiritual walk. We started out as being recruited during shutdown. And Elfrida Flowers and myself got called late at night and asking from Sarah Holly and Prince Corbett if we would join in on this. I thought I was going to give him some names of people. And so we found ourselves among 13 others from communities of color, cultural communities, in this circle called Equity Action Circle. And in that circle, I learned so much about my brothers and sisters that I had not known. I also learned that there's a lot about the county that is so good. There's a lot that's challenging. And in our communities, it's kind of the same way. So it was really necessary that we have these conversations and we put out there our shared concerns about the deprivation, the disparities and socioeconomic problems. So anyway, after all the discussion, and of course, Prince would let us talk for so long, we had a lot of different meetings and gathered a lot of different conversations from around the table, around the circle, until it got to the point where we're gonna have to land the plane. And we came up with
5 different committees. And those committees were the it was housing, policy, family and youth. And let's see, what was the other?
Workforce.
Workforce. And there was one more, I think. Oh, yeah, as healthcare, policy, housing, workforce, and family and youth. Well, there was only 15 of us and 5 committees. So Alfreda Flowers and myself selected family and youth. And let me give you a little bit of a background as to why, I think. Alfreda and I had held positions with St. Paul Public Schools at different times called homeschool liaison. And what we had experienced and learned is that culture and relationships make a difference. And I want you to keep in mind as I talk, culture, relationship, trust, accessibility, and working with. And so as we started to think about this committee of 2, we needed some more people. So we reached out, and some of the names that had been mentioned were joined from the community. Montanay, Shelley, and also another woman by the name of Gabrielle Gadea. She is no longer with us, but she put in a lot of work. And as we discussed, taking into consideration all that we had heard in the circle, and this committee called Family and Youth, what is it that we wanted to present back? We had to do the work and come back with some kind of a plan. And we even went to the goals, strategic plan, vision, mission, all of that of the county. Putting the 2 together, our experiences and what you had in words, and we came up with this idea of a proposal for a family coach. And as we talked about that, we said we've got to put this into we've got to put it into a form that was just a proposal. Well, then we also, once we got into a proposal, we found out after bringing it to some of the commissioners and some other parts of the county that it was really very well liked. But now where was the money going to come from? We had an opportunity, the PDG, Preschool Child Development Grant, was available for applications, and a woman by the name of Dr. Nancy Lee, who was a consultant and also a grant writer. And she worked with us. We had town hall meetings for the community. So we didn't do this in isolation or alone. And we had been working also with our committee. 2 people from the research team from within the county worked with us as well. So you could see we had county people, we had community people, we had people that were employed by the county, and we had people who had experience with working with families. So anyway, we came up with this, and we conferred, as I said, we referred to all of the languages you'd have. Family coach. And so we did get funded for the preschool part of that. And we selected the organizations we were going to go with, an African American and also American Indian, because from the conversations in the Equity Action Circle came to the conclusion, this is what we needed to do in order to start out. So how much time do I have? Am I going too long? So anyway, I'm gonna end this by saying that these organizations, American Indian and African American, you'll hear from them, and I really want you to hear their experience as coaches, because this has been an experience. It's been a walk in faith, and it's been a walk in understanding and relating to one another. And the county people, these people have been wonderful. They have been absolutely wonderful. And our community people have just embraced. So coming together where we can do the work and acknowledge these families have the answers. They are not stupid. They are not in any way less than. And so I'm going to leave it at that, because the family coaches will say even more, and you can read whatever else is up there. I'm looking forward to your questions, but you can tell the passion, I hope.
Yeah.
It's there.
So up on the screen, you can see there is a lot of what Elder Mary Kay talked through just in terms of that background. But now I'm going to give a little bit more context to what actually is a family coach for those who might not know. First of all, I want to point out the QR code up there. That is a link to our website, which includes a fantastic video that Elder Mary Kay and Miss Alfreda Flowers are both in, as well as some of our family coaches. We don't have time today to show it in the meeting, but definitely recommend taking a look at that on your own time. It's a fantastic video that kind of talks through, yeah, what the program looks like. Ultimately, this program, so it comes from the Kellogg Family Foundation, and the goal of it is to really provide a safe space for families to access those culturally responsive, community-based resources. It uses a whole person and whole family approach, so really not looking at individuals as their own person, but as a family unit, and knowing that something that affects one family member is going to affect the rest of the family as well. It's, you know, working with families that are willing to put in that work. So it's them setting their own personal goals and being empowered to find their own solutions. As Elder Mary Kay just said, you know, families know what's best for them. They often just need a little bit of help to find that solution for themselves. And we will really be successful when coaches help families not only be empowered to help themselves, but also pay that forward and help others in their community, and kind of like spread that wealth, so to speak. We've already mentioned the Preschool Development Fund grants. This has also been supported by so many other funding sources, including the American Rescue Plan Act funds, Title V Maternal and Child Health Block Grant funds, and 2 strategic priority funding pockets, including Holistic Approach, which we're here today to talk about, of course, and Intergenerational Wealth in partnership with Workforce Solutions. Elder Mary Kay, do you want to talk a little bit more about the inequities and why you all kind of picked African American and American Indian to focus
Well, as I
on?
mentioned before, because it came from the conversations within the Equity Action Circle. And we recognize that the disparities have really been very heavily recognized in the African American community and in the American Indian community as well. So to start out, you know, you don't try to do everything at once. And so we wanted to see how we would, with a kind of a pilot, and we wanted to see how that would go. We wanted to learn from that experience from our coaches. And so that's why we decided, from our colleagues that we had worked with before, they agreed this is the way we should go with those 2 cultures. And we recognize that, as it says, you know, the inequities still go on. They persist today. However, when you have someone who understands you, and you know that they are accessible to you, because these community organizations are there, and you don't have to go through a lot of different people trying to make calls and email, etc. So the inequities are understood without having to explain oneself. And also the cultural ways of being and doing in order to address that. And there, as I said before, it's really quite a spiritual walk. So I wanted to just leave time for you to hear from the coaches.
We're almost there. All right, so current state, we have 8 coaches across 4 organizations. Those organizations are Family Values for Life, serving Black and African American identifying families. The Hub, which includes the Montessori American Indian Child Care Center and the Department of Indian Work as part of Interfaith Action, and American Indian Family Center. In total, we are currently working with about 90 families across those organizations. And since the program began, we've worked with just over 200 families total. Our goal is also to promote the use of family coaching across the county in different service areas, so that residents are not just being supported, you know, within this program, but also using these principles of family coaching, of being empowered, having a holistic whole family approach, and having their support be culturally appropriate as well. So that's kind of another goal that we have in this work. And I mentioned this already, but we're also working on the creation of a coaching community of practice to give those coaches a space to come together and kind of learn together, since they're all doing really similar work.
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
For this model across different counties, which service areas do you have planned?
Chair Moran, Commissioner Zhang, we're still in the planning stages of what that would look like. We've talked to, I mean, some places it's already, like this morning, talking about Workforce Solutions. They've been long trained in motivational interviewing, which is very, very similar. But we also have some public, we're doing a training right now on with some new coaches and expanded coaches on the family coach model. And there are several public health staff from various programs who are taking part in that programming. And so we're formalizing those like relationships right now and what that would look like to provide that training. We've also had discussions with social services and looking at how that might look in the context of the MAPPA and the I'm gonna forget what that is.
It's all about
And,
African American
Yeah,
Family
thank you.
Preservation Act.
and how that would look. Is this a possibility to use that approach with MAPPA? So nothing quite formal yet, but that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the different places that the county touches families, right? So one of them is also our JDC. When, you know, the parents are coming down to the JDC to take their kids or talking to their kids. So that's just something that I'm thinking about.
Yes.
And for you to go.
Very good.
Thank
yes.
you.
You will get a chance to hear from some of the coaches today, but I also just have a few quotes from participants. So I won't read all of these, but I'll just read a couple of them. Ultimately, they just speak to really positive experiences that these families are having with our coaches. So, you know, I was able to get resources that I needed for my children. It helped me love myself and be there for my kids more emotionally. She treats you like family. She doesn't treat you like a statistic or just another number to get her numbers up. She actually cares and she treats you like your family from day one. You know, my coach has been very supportive and more than a mentor. She has become such a huge cheerleader in my life and positive person for me to talk to. So these are really special to see and really speak to the positive impact that these coaches are having on the folks that are participating in their program. Without further ado, I would like to invite up three of our coaches to speak to their experience. Ruth, you wanna come on this side?
Madam Chair.
Yes,
I have a
Commissioner. So,
Before we also dive into this too, I'm just looking at the number of families that are being served. Just curious what our current overall budget is for this, for family coaching.
I don't have an exact number of overall,
yes.
I'm like, I know it's per organization, but go ahead.
Commissioner Moran and Commissioner Zong, right now we have about $350,000 in ARPA funding and then additional strategic priority funding of about $100,000, and that's where we're at right now. Hannah is our main, Hannah and then Pahua are our primary staff support for that, and Hannah is levy and Pahua, you're, I don't know how you're funded, but grant funded for the maternal and child health grant. So those also support the program indirectly through staffing.
But I will also share that all of these organizations have further funding sources outside of the county.
Yeah, we're part of a mix of funding for all of them. And I think one of the important roles we play is we've been able to be very flexible with our funding, where other funding sources have, you know, more restrictions. And so we've been able to come in and be, okay, what do you need? What are the gaps, right? And we've been able to be a gap filler because of the types of funding we've had so far, offer that flexibility.
That's great. Thank you.
Just for clarity, the amount that Ramsey County is investing in family coaching is a total of $450.
Currently, yes.
Yeah, and
And-
so where are we with the ARPA dollars?
We are currently working through, we have 350,000 that goes through the end of 2026, through the end of, you know, that allotment. And so that will basically take us through this year. And I'm hoping to build a bridge into the 26-27 budget, right? So use those ARPA dollars and then bridge into that next budget cycle.
So we have additional ARPA dollars beyond the 350K?
That's what we have for this program.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. I'm joined here by Rachel Smith, Elijah Jackson and Rich Antel, all family coaches, excited to share their experiences with you. So I'm going to give each of them an opportunity about no more than 10 minutes to kind of talk through some highlights of their programs. So if we could just save questions for the end, that would be amazing. And then we can ask kind of questions to all of them. But we will start with Elijah.
Yes, thank you so much. Hi, you guys. My name is Elijah Jackson. I'm the Healthy Moms, Healthy Babies coach with Family Values. I want to tell you guys a little bit about what family coaching looks like for our organization. A family coach at Family Values for Life works closely with African American mothers to provide guidance and support and navigating the unique challenges of motherhood by walking alongside these mothers. As a coach, we help them set realistic goals, aligning them with their personal values and aspirations. Through personalized coaching sessions, mothers are empowered, as we can see per our quotes, leaving them enhanced of their well-being, being able to identify how they're feeling. We also foster a healthy family dynamic, so as a holistic approach for the whole family. A coach serves as a trusted ally, ensuring that each mother feels supported and equipped. Our ultimate goal for family coaching at Family Values for Life is mothers to utilize family coaching services to cultivate a nurturing environment that fosters emotional well-being, effective parenting strategies, and enhancing their own self-confidence. Mothers aim to model positive behaviors that their children can carry forward in future generations. Through this transformative process, they seek to break cycles, right, with adversity and instill values to promote a stronger family bond and healthy relationships. Ultimately, the impact of their growth extends beyond just their immediate family, creating a legacy of empowerment through their children and generations to come. Ramsey County has impacted this work extremely, right? Delivering our coaching services by providing essential funding that enables the program to reach more mothers in the community. The financial backing allows the development and tailored coaching programs and resources. Additionally, Ramsey County efforts in sending referrals help us connect with mothers outside of our own reach, which is pretty often as well, ensuring that we receive the support necessary for their personal growth and dynamics. Together, these contributions strengthen the overall impact of what family coaching looks like for our organization. And just thinking about the systems that our families are overcoming through our coaching programs. Family coaches, we assist families in overcoming various economic systems, issues, and support as an ally, such as financial instability, limited accesses to resources, or maybe just not even knowing about resources that may be accessible for them. We provide guidance on budgeting, financial planning, and mental health awareness, and navigating social services, empowering families to make them more informed of the transition that they're going through, no matter if it's their first child or their third child. So just being there to support them and foster a holistic approach. And just thinking about how we want this program to grow as it's growing every day, as we envision the growth of this program to reach even more families. And that's really what we're pushing to do, to spread the awareness of what a family coach is and to spread the word to reach more families in our community. We seek to enhance the opportunity of being available for us as coaches to be able to take on more families, or even have more coaches to be able to seek the support in our community. Because as we know, mental health is on our rise right now. And we want to achieve this by partnering with other local organizations, which we do have our support that we do monthly with coaching and learning what's working along different organizations that we make and bring into our coaching programs. But ultimately, the goal is to create a robust network of resources that empower families to thrive and build a brighter future together.
Thank
Could you share with me what is your budget
For the Healthy Moms, Healthy Babies
for Ramsey County?
for Ramsey County? I'm not exactly sure.
I don't know, Helen, do you?
Yeah.
We'll have to get back to you on
Okay.
that, Chairman. Thank you.
Any questions?
I mean,
May I-
Well, let's try to wait,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Well, then we can.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right, Rachel's next.
Hello, I'm Rachel Smith, and I have been a family coach since January 2023. Right now, I work out of the Montessori American Indian Child Care Center, and I have 17 families that I currently serve. Most of my families have children between the ages of 0 to 8. Through coaching, I meet families where they are, forming deep bonds and supporting their specific needs. I tailor my approach to their unique dynamics and challenges. We meet about monthly, and we also do monthly events that are culturally specific. We often refer to their 7 generations plan. So we call it the 7 generations plan. It is from a precept of the Great Law of Peace from the Iroquois Confederacy. This principle encourages responsible mindset, long-term thinking, community, and preserving cultural knowledge for future generations. Each family creates goals in 4 pillar areas: work, income, health, education and career training, financial management and wealth building, and cultural support and community. For example, we have families who did career training to get a career that actually will create stability, economic stability. We have families who a household, the head of household went back to college. We have other families who have learned how to increase their credit score and increase their financial knowledge, and have goals of buying a home. And that is a great way to increase intergenerational wealth. I use resources and have referral partners that help support families with basic needs. If a family is in crisis mode, they cannot keep working towards their economic mobility. Luckily, we have, 2 sources of funding that can help them. One is for stabilization. So let's say the car breaks down or their lights get shut off. I can step in a lot quicker than any other program that they've used. I am more responsive than any case manager that they have. And I can usually stop that crisis in a timely fashion so that they can get back to working on their economic stability. We also have an incentive fund. So when a family finishes their goal plan, or they complete, so many steps on a certain goal, we can incentivize whatever goal that is. Let's say one wanted to get her GED and then signed up for college. We can reward them with a goal incentive that they would like school supplies or a computer. So it's been really nice to be able to reward all the hard work that the family does. And I never, tell them what I think they should do or what I would do in their shoes. I just help support in the background what their envision of success is. Partnering with a coach helps families get the resources they need while dealing with systemic barriers and policies that are hurtful to our community. I completely approach it the opposite way from a typical caseworker when dealing with any issues that they have. When they hit roadblocks, I can provide support, step in where needed, whether it's with resources or working together with other agencies. When I have difficulty navigating county systems, I can partner with our American Indian Community Liaison, Nicole Bean. Example, I have had situations where there was paperwork lost or a caseworker wasn't getting back in time. They lose their childcare and they cannot go to work any longer. And all of a sudden, all that hard work that they did to get out of poverty, they backslide very quickly. But I can contact Nicole Bean, get us all together, get the ball rolling again a lot quicker than they could on their own. And they can start working on their goals again because they don't have to worry about things like housing as much, and childcare and healthcare too. That's been another thing, is helping with medical assistance. One issue that, one system issue that I think would be very helpful to families is once they get to that point where they increase their income, they all of a sudden do not qualify any longer for benefits and, food stamps, stuff like that, medical assistance. But they might not be to that point where they can all of a sudden afford to have all their children in childcare at $400 a week. They cannot buy their own private health insurance. So that is one thing that, we kind of struggle with, because they don't just have to make, a little leap to get out of poverty. They have to make a huge one. So that is something that, we work on and will help us grow if we can navigate that benefits cliff more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Rachel. All right, I will pass it to you, Rick.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rich Antel. I'm the Family Services Manager over at the American Indian Family Center. And I oversee our maternal health program and our men's program. And that's where the family coaching has been kind of initiated and established and ingrained in learning as we go. And from that perspective, that the family coaching is, we do so much cultural work there. And so even though it's considered family coaching, there's so many more different aspects to it, mentor, teacher, support system, all of these different types of things. But through our Aya Anishinaabe and Winawag, in Winawag is rise up original men. So we have a men's aspect to that. And so what we really do is to try to meet our men where they're at, getting towards self-sufficiency, dealing with a lot of overcoming affiliations and hustling and things like that for our young men out there, dealing with their criminal records. So there's a lot of challenges that we have to do and face in that. And a lot of our dads are, you don't want to label it, but as being absent or all of that, how they get back involved in their children's lives. And so that's where that family coaching comes in, to really work with our men and our families and from that. And it's from that very, very beginning, these other ladies that are up here and talking about family coaching, it's really about how we establish trust. And because of being products of the system, being intergenerational trauma, those words that are said is that trust. And so as a family coach, when you can establish that trust with a father or with a mother or with the family in general, that's when the impact can happen from the skills that we learn through the tools that Ramsey County has been able to provide for us in the coaching aspect. And so that's unique from that perspective. Looking at that generational impact that we could say from this is that, if it has its challenges because of that, but when you establish that trust and you can help a family member just overcome one barrier, one challenge, that can have an impact on their kids, that can have an impact on their family, could have an impact on their relatives. And so when we work from that perspective, it can truly have an impact on that. You change one and hopefully it filters down, and then the ones that even came before us are looking down in a good way. And so that's also too is from the American Indian Family Center, which I really enjoy working. I got hired there during COVID. So I was hired virtually and remotely. And now that we're back to doing these in-person things and having an opportunity to engage in culture. And we've established a relationship to do a lot of different cultural things, partnering with our other Native organizations, the facilities, the areas. But we've been able to do that through a cultural lens that has an impact. And where I can really go with that is identity. with our American Indian families, if we can truly help them with their identity, because there's been so much loss from a historical standpoint. But from our men and our women, we can help them be comfortable within their own skin and comfortable with who they are as Anishinaabe, who they are as a people. It can help them grow. And so having these cultural aspects to do that through cedar healing ceremonies, through sweat lodges, through full moon ceremonies that, you know, similar to wiping of the tears and things like that, we can deal with grief and loss and the trauma. And we have that impact. It could take one ceremony that can change an individual's life, that can have an impact on their whole family. So when we incorporate that, that's what I kind of say is that family coaching, to have a holistic approach to that. That's the impact, is that from the Western things that we do, from the coaching, but to be able to bring these cultural values into that, to have that holistic approach and have that autonomy and that freedom to be able to do that within our program can have a huge impact on our coaching abilities. And so that is kind of a way I'd say it, you know, when I talk a little bit about the men's program, is I also oversee our moms program. And that's where the added benefits that come and support, that's from additional resources to come in and support that of what we do to provide these services. But when you say that our children are sacred, is that truly has a indefinite meaning to it. It's just really ingrained of how important our children are in our community, how we learn from them, how they teach us, and how they need our parents and those families around. So that through those two types of programs, to be able to incorporate the family coaching model, and then to be able to indigenize it according to what we can do as a community, truly has an impact. How am I doing on time? You want me to go somewhere?
I think you're doing great.
All right.
If you have more to say, that's great. Otherwise, we can also open it up.
Yeah.
Questions.
I'm okay.
You good? All right, so we can open it up for questions now. Ms. Summer
Thank
Guy?
you, Madam Chair. Well, I truly am inspired, and I'm in the presence of greatness here with all of you, and of course, starting out with Elder Mary Kay Boyd and Elder Elfrida Flowers. I will say that one of the greatest gifts that I got as a new commissioner was I got to serve on the St. Paul Children's Collaborative with both Elder Boyd and Elder Flowers, who taught me so much about all the work that the importance of this kind of work. So I want to thank you, and thank you for doing this work. I have goosebumps thinking about the impact that you're truly having on these families and these people. So thank you so much for all of this. My question is how, you know, I'm expecting that so many families need this, and we don't have unlimited resources. Do we have like large waiting lists? Like, I'm guessing that people that participate in the programs get to know the benefit of it, and then where they might have been, you know, hesitant before, now they're not, and they may tell others so that more people want to do this. So the success of the program breeds, you know, more people wanting to be a part of it. So how's that looking for the programs? Are there long waiting lists? I'm actually hoping I'm hoping there's a lot more people that want to do this, but I'm also sensitive to the fact that we don't have unlimited resources, but we really need to put our resources where this impact is. So just if you could comment a little bit on that. And
I can comment on that,
Okay.
Commissioner.
Thank you.
I serve a full case, and I've had a full case for the last this is my second year. And right now I have a waiting list of about 7 moms that are, because I wrote, by being the Healthy Moms, Healthy Babies coach, I coach up until their baby is 12 months. So then I release them to Miss Helen, which she coaches up until they're 18. And then that's how I'm able to kind of navigate, but they still stay connected with resources, our newsletters, our Jumpstart program. So they might not be receiving the one-on-one coaching with me directly at that time, but we're still making sure that they're included. If it's a resource that they need, how can I help you get that resource? I may not be able to take you onto my caseload right now, but still making sure that they're staying connected with the organization, any events that we have. So we're still making sure that they are staying involved as they're coming, so no one gets dropped off. Or there has been times where if we didn't pick up the phone, this mother was on her last leg. So we're still making sure that they're staying connected and they're still feeling that support for whatever that urgent need is at that time until something, kind of opens up.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good, let me, there's one on the back of that question. What is a full case?
I'm sitting at 25 moms.
It's
right now.
25 moms.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Okay, county manager.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much for being here. I know it's a lot to come all the way downtown and get in the
Mhm.
courthouse, so appreciate you sharing your story with us. I think the one thing that I see that the next iteration of this work is really thinking through changing the way we do business. Because, this has been a journey and it's obviously proving out to be a very viable model that community members are receiving a lot of impact from. I think where we need to understand the next phases is like how many people on your caseloads are impacted by multiple county systems.
Yeah.
And of those systems, I'd be curious how much offer some sort of case management or some sort of like one-on-one supports and how we sort of leverage like the way we do that as a county into more of a community-oriented approach. So I would really encourage our staff as you build out the next iteration of this model, particularly for it to, in these really tighter budget times, is to really be able to think about how you're leveraging existing funding streams. And any additional county dollars would sort of augment the ability to do systems change. It's not just to like build a system of family coaches that go outside of all the work that we're doing, So like you've done it, you've modeled it, you've shown what works, what doesn't work. And I would just really challenge our staff to think about how we do our work differently then, now that we have a new understanding of how community can be part of the work or be the work itself. So, so I hope that helps with the
Yeah.
resource constraints a little bit.
I
Yeah.
so appreciate, that's why we love you as our county manager. That is the way we should be. I'm really grateful how you articulated that. That's exactly right. This should be the way we do our work and how we can incorporate it into what's already being done. You said it very well. I appreciate it.
I think Commissioner Zone and then Jefferson.
For the families, how do they find out about this program and or how do they get connected to family coaching?
Chairman and commissioners, that QR code that I was showing is also a link to where families can be referred online. At least for the hub and for Family Values for Life, they actually come to my inbox and I send them on to the organizations, basically depending on ethnicity. And then maybe I don't know, I would love to hear from each organization on kind of, I don't actually know exactly what it looks like when you get those referrals.
Yes,
from me.
I can speak to that, Chair Moran and commissioners. Once we, get the names, we usually get them from the Ramsey County website, but we also partner with St. Paul Indian Education and other community orgs that will send us families that they identify would be great for this program. Once that happens, we have our outreach worker, Kateri, who contacts them, does the initial eligibility, and then they are assigned a coach. So if they have very young children that could either go to the Montessori preschool or they, will be, I will usually get them since I work with the youngest youngest children. And then once they get a coach, they meet, face to face. We have our agreements and start working with them on their exact, care plan.
And I will also share that families can refer themselves or anyone can refer a family. So we get referrals often from WIC or from home visitors, and then sometimes from parents themselves, referring themselves to the program.
And, and the system sometimes refers them to Indian Child Welfare, CPS. We also have relationships like with St. Paul Indian Ed, also ECFE, early childhood development, and those types of things that are going on. So it's really networking out in the community. And in the Native community, a lot of it is just word of mouth. And with that, and so if there are tools out there to showcase or broadcast through social media, we always advantageous for that, but it's really that word of mouth about what we're doing, and we network with each other to be able to do that. And knowing that with our caseload too, is to address that caseload is, you know, we're pretty well maxed out, but we kind of balance it because we as staff, we have to take care of ourselves too.
Yeah.
And so we try to manage that with our caseload, because when you're getting cases referred through CPS and things like that, we are in high needs crisis to really address. So the amount of time and energy that a coach may spend with one family can really elevate. So we've tried to back that off just so that we can, as staff, we can take care of ourselves and to be able to meet the needs of the families that we're serving. So it's not about getting maximum numbers. It's really about providing the quality service to the ones that we serve.
Richard, what's your caseload?
Our caseload is about 25 right now.
Okay.
And that's on the mom side.
Mhm.
And I mean, we work probably with another 20 to 25 men on a pretty regular basis. We probably have 126 unique names that have participated in our programming, but we probably work with another 20 to 25. Intense.
Are you the only staff? How many?
No,
staff?
we have three other, we have two ladies in our family spirit program. I have a maternal health, and then we have two other individuals with that. But as far as the family coaching certification, what was available to us for the grant cycle, we have 3 family coaches.
3 family coaches. No, I'm sorry.
So I appreciate you bringing up the different community mutual referral partners back and forth. And so I think about when you mentioned ECFE, that was on my list, but also things like Head Start and other school-based programs and community-based programs, and just wondering how much of that do you feel like you're getting referrals where you're referring families to those existing programs, but also that those entities are starting to refer back to you and realizing you are a partner that has a particular, you know, place within the system of family supports? Do you feel like you've started to build that?
I can go off that, Chair Murray and the commissioners. So with me being a healthy mom, healthy babies, I work pretty closely with doulas. And we go back and forth. So if they're prenatal or just delivering, they'll go through the doula process, and then I will coach them after delivery, and then vice versa. So working closely with like Beck and Club Mom them, that it has been vice versa. So depending on what stage their child is or where they are, sometimes having a doula first and then coming to coaching afterwards. Or depending on what their need is. Snuggle House, I work pretty close with them, and they have African-American therapists, because some families may not be ready for coaching just yet. So then I would refer them to go, you know, have therapy sessions. And then once they have completed whatever they have needed at that time, they will refer back to coaching. So I have seen that be a two-way street, very beneficial.
Excellent. And then another piece of that, just thinking about capacity building, is in other groups, there's the peer-to-peer program. You know, the idea of the peer-to-peer model where, you know, people who have gone through your programs, you know, men who've gone through your programs, who then maybe become peer, you know, facilitators going forward and paying that forward and building that capacity within community. Do you see that either happening just naturally, or is it part of, like, you know, future phases of the program at all?
I can
Go ahead.
I can speak to Chair Moran and commissioners. We actually had one of our families become the director of the Department of Immigrant Work. We've actually had one of our families start working as an office coordinator at the Montessori. We have families who volunteer and want to start leading community events. So yes, we are working with our future, you know, coworkers and leaders.
I think that speaks to
it's
the
wonderful.
power of this model, and it's exponential in its impact. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Does someone else want to speak today?
Just to say that, you know, sometimes as you're working, you're focused, you know, those boots on the ground type things, and you're kind of oblivious to see the impact that you're having. But even like through our men's program, you know, it's like, I come from a recovery background and, you know, addiction is a beast in our community, constantly dealing with it. But I've seen such growth from some of our men that just the little pieces of culture that we've been able to provide, watch them blossom, watch them heal, watch them take care of themselves. And then we see that spider web out into the community because we have a unique community on, from the east side of St. Paul to the other side of the river in Minneapolis, but we're seeing an impact that some of the men have done that to change their lives and to see that kind of spider web out. So it's really cool to see that.
Okay, Commissioner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you all for just the amazing transformative work that you're all doing. I had a question on the families receiving the basic income. Can you speak more to kind of what the data is telling you on how beneficial it's been for them, or like what are areas that without those funds, they would not be able to pay for X, Y, and Z? Can you just speak more to what you've learned from that program?
Yes, not all of my families are receiving the GBI, so the ones who came in after, you know, the first round was through, they don't get it, but there are several of my families who do, and a lot of them do spend it on basic needs. They're spending it on groceries and, you know, gas and bills.
Yeah.
But some of our families are able to use it towards savings, and some are part of the FAME program where they, it's like a 3-to-1 match, you know, so that they can purchase a home, put their kids into college, you know, big things like that.
Good to hear that program is still around.
Yes, very grateful. Thank you.
And one follow-up, is there a plan to expand that work? Is there a goal to incorporate additional families, or what's the hopes there?
Chairman and commissioners, yes, we are trying to get more funding, private sector funding to continue this program. We have our consultant, Nicole, working very hard on helping us continue this program.
So I'm gonna make a statement because, you know, often we look at, we have a workshop, this is from the staff too. And we think of, we talk about the great disparities, we talk about those who are underserved. And we talk about it. And so before us, we have like in real time, we're looking at, for example, the African American Family Preservation Child Welfare Disproportionate Act. And usually what I've been hearing over the last 3 months, probably last 9 months, is that we just need more staff. We just need more money. We just need more staff and we just need more money, or we cannot do this work. And I'm clearly hearing that this is like a program, the family coaching is one initiative that we can use in partnership with the work that we're doing with the county. You know, we've heard over and over again that, you know, family knows what they need. And so when we think about removing kids to out-of-home placement, or we look at using active effort, for us here in Ramsey County, one of the things that we do instead of trying to expand is use the resources we have, which is looking at social services, right? And I think we talked about that, right? You can look at workforce. We can look at, you know, heading home, Ramsey County into housing. We can look at the resources that we have in-house already to support the families that we're working with. It's not always about looking outside of it and having and doing more, right? And this program is really, to me, is a testament to what we can do when we invest in community-based organizations, and when we give families the tools they need to be the best that they can be, right? And look at this work through a strength-based lens instead of those people, right? We know that often this is not always about just people, but systemic policies and practices. that has often kept really these in big numbers, the Black community and the Native American community in a place, right? That's what history tells us, and that is what history shows us. And so for county to be able to know that, to speak of that, and then to invest real dollars into that, to really help people help themselves and their family, we can do better. Because I'm looking at 350K of opera dollars and 100K, 450K for over how many years?
5 years.
It's,
Four, maybe 3 years.
I'll just clarify
Or 3
that that's this year. Right, like, there's been other, it is not as much as I would like, or I think any of us would like, but that's this year's budget, and in previous year's budget, we've had the preschool development grant, we've had previous ARPA dollars of $200,000, and then holistic families and intergenerational wealth strategic priorities all cobbled together, but currently that's what we have is the 350.
It'd be helpful if you can get us that information and what that has looked like over the last 5
Yeah.
years, the type of investment we have made into this type of programming. That would be helpful.
Absolutely.
Because the goal is to give people not dependent on the county. We want to give them to self-sufficiency, right? And to make it intergenerational,
Absolutely.
right? And so when we invest, you get a return if we put the investment there. And so it'd be helpful to know just what we have done over the last 4 or 5 years and what that looks like. But really, looking internally at how we can be more efficient in how we do our work in Ramsey County in partnership with other, what's the word, service delivery entities. I'm really happy to see you engaging fathers in this process. I think, having fathers see the self-worth in themselves and their connection to the family, right? But that's a journey to try to get there for many different reasons and factors. Congratulations yourself in your journey, and now you're working where you are. And that's the ripple effect of what we see when we invest into people's lives. And so just want to say thank you for the work that you do. And the work that we need to continue to do, right, to be greater income, to have a greater impact. I see Commissioner Miller, yes, did you want to share something?
I just wanted to, one, before we wrap up, to say thank you guys. Family coaching is definitely a near and dear program to my heart. I also kind of want to touch on what you said about the funding, Commissioner Moran, is because I know that funding we play one small piece in the funding puzzle that these organizations have to navigate. And there's a lot of private dollars, it's a lot of grant writing, it's a lot of work. So even as we look internally at what we've contributed, not just with dollars, but like also staff time as well, because the county is a lot of connecting the dots and moving pieces, but how can we also help continue to alleviate the barriers that our systems put on community members to make it easier for them to access the services that they need. And if that's, it's great that we have Nicole here to be able to help that, but who do we also have that can help you, right? Like that can help your community and your families as well to navigate that. So I think just those are areas that I can see that the county could try to move some of those pieces around to help make this even more successful.
Yeah. But in real time, we do have a new law that I see getting a lot of pushback about what can and cannot happen unless we get $100 million more, right? And that's like right now in real time happening. And so for us as a county to begin to envision how we can be more innovative and creative and look to those stronger partnerships outside of the county, which I'm glad that people can self-report, because often people don't always want to come to the county. They don't trust the county, not our communities anyway, right? And so the more we can invest outside of the county into community, we don't need 25 different organizations, because then we penny and dime them, and as we learned earlier in the earlier workshop. And so we want to make real good investments to really create change.
Another question. Thank you, Madam Chair. it's just such a gift for you to all be here on our board meeting like this. And you've shared with us your programs, and I know you have a great relationship with our county, with Hannah, with our county people. But if there's anything else you want to tell the board, like about your programs, is there, I want to open it up for you to let us know. I mean, obviously, you're a living testament to the programs, and I mean, I think as a board, we support them and and all things being said, make it system-wide, you know, help with all the partnerships and all those things. Is there anything else you want the board to know about what you're dealing with? There's people in the audience that are raising their hands, but
You got a lot to share.
but
Is that okay?
Thank you for listening and giving us time this afternoon. I do want to acknowledge that what it takes is the creativity and the willingness to understand what a holistic approach looks like. And really, Dana's been a big part of that. Hannah's been a big part of that. And before it was December, bringing, the other Nicole on. And it's that kind of working together that I want to acknowledge, because I have no desire to know everything there is about the county and its funding sources, but appreciate that they recognize the work that we're doing and how to best support and fund, right? And it's not by micromanaging, and it is best by listening and bringing our resources and recognizing what resources are. Resources is information, resources is listening, resources, and that's the kind of collaboration I think that makes this work so much better and makes the bigger difference. That you can measure that long-term impact, I'd love to. Yeah, that's why you have research people. But I wanted to say thank you because there's that aspect of collaboration and partnership that has helped make this easier, because the work is really hard. But the fact that we don't have to work hard against each other and that working together is easier is much appreciated.
Can you share your name with us, please, for the record?
Janice LaFleur with the Montessori American
Janice
Indian
LaFleur.
Child Care Center, part of the American Indian Economic Mobility.
Anyone else?
Frida.
Like to say, Frida?
I just want to say.
Can you come, I think we should have people come
Can you come
closer
up
so we can hear. Sorry, I know you spoke from back there, but.
No, I just want to say thank you to each of you around the table, our commissioners and our county manager. Elder Mary Kay and I have been in this race a long time. We've worked with families through St. Paul schools I'm a mom of 8 children and also having childcare, having daycare, and just seeing the need of this family coaching. And now to see it come into fruition, we're just so grateful. We just can't say thank you enough. So I just appreciate where we're going and that each of you see the need for family coaching. See that there's a need, because each one teaches one. If we can empower one, just think what that person can do. I heard this gentleman here saying that where he comes from and now where he's at now. That's what we want to get all of our families to. And we know when we won't get them all there, but we will get some of them there. And but it takes a lot of work. So thank you again so very much.
Van,
This is gonna be.
could you introduce yourself, please?
People should introduce themselves.
I'm Van Owens Hayes and I came as a supporter. And I'm a supporter because when I was young and married, we didn't have much income. And I was able to take advantage of a program that supplemented us with babysitting and resources. And without that, I wouldn't have been able to get my law degree and eventually become dean of students at the law school. So I encourage you it does make a difference with families. These opportunities really can help a family to grow. And I think I'm a product of something like that. So I just wanted to share it with you.
Hannah? Oh, okay.
I can speak
Alicia?
from a family that I have been working with the last year. She was on a system for 6 years prior to coaching, and now being able to coach her through what an interview looks like and how to rebrand your resume. And now she is successfully working, which she haven't been in the workforce for the last 6 years just due to systems and being able to not have childcare. Her son is autistic, so not having anyone to really understand those behaviors, but being able to understand if you put that on your resume and you let them know upfront of what your household, consists of, and just walking her through that whole process. And now to hear now that she is full-time working and being able to provide for her household and not have to, when we first started, we were going back and forth of this month you may not have benefits, this month you have benefits, and just dealing with those different dilemmas and as providing basic needs of like diapers and things to get her over that little hump. It feels good, for her now to be in the workforce and feel supported through that of where she come from of being on a system for a very long time. So that is a success story that we have as of now.
Well, thank you, Chair, Maria, and Commissioners. I just put this next step slide up. We've already spoken to a lot of this.
I have one more comment.
All right,
if you don't mind.
Elder.
Among our charges with the Equity Action Circle, we were also to influence change within the county, isn't that right? And people in the county come and go, change positions, but our cultural communities are there. And thank you all so much for hearing, for understanding, and thank you everybody for being here and listening.
Not too much to say after that, but I just wanted to point out that a lot of the things that have already been shared about really like utilizing the resources we already have at hand. We have an evaluation on the horizon, so we're really excited to be able to actually look at some kind of process and outcome effects from this program. And of course, we want to be able to sustain this program sustainably, support it sustainably, keep it going, and grow it if possible. So just want to thank these folks for being here with me today and thank all of you for listening. And that's all we have.
And so, okay.
Oh, I just have one last thing, which is that just to recognize that the systems that have underserved communities have also been part of the harms to communities. And I just want to say the investment in the relationships that you all individually and as organizations put out on the table to bridge people back towards some of the services within our county, within our schools, within any of the other institutions that, are part of this web of support. That was a tremendous gift in bridging that back. It's relationships, it's repair, it's working towards and earning and maintaining trust. Because communities aren't just underserved, they're underestimated. And I just, this work is bigger than whatever statistics are on there. And I just, it has so much impact in all different relationships throughout the community. So just thank you for that. Thank you so very much.
And I'm going to just close this out by saying, okay. Mrs.
Yes, thank you. First, I just want to thank the elders in the room who remained so committed throughout this whole process, as well as our staff who listened and trusted community. I will say that, I'm glad that we looked at both the data and also at listen to community to identify both African-American families as well as Native American families, because from our just previous presentation, they are well overrepresented in our MFIP programs too. But that also means that, it's young people, they are our future, and our success really is dependent upon our future generations. So I'm glad that we are stay committed to this. I'm also really glad to see that we're going to start looking at how we can expand the community of practice. Because granted, not everyone can be a coach or not everyone wants to be a coach, right? But it allows for us to do things differently and to be able to respond to our communities better. So I'm glad that those are things that are underway. I also think that we can go further with all of our departments. And again, we touch families from our social services, child protection, our youth at the JDC, and then even when we touch families at our corrections, right? Like at corrections, I'm sure they have family too, or kids too. And so those are all parts where I would want as a county to think about and implement this practice and model together. Thank you.
Well, you just closed out using a lot of my talking points that I was going to say. But I'm gonna go ahead on and thank Elder Mary Kay again, along with Alfreda and Van for stepping up and bringing the community voices and practices into Ramsey County. I want to thank Hannah and I want to thank Dana, the masters, what we've heard from the community say clearly that you have been a great partner. So we want to say thank you to that. And so as we come to the end, there's one big word that I just want to share, would be trust, right? And trust is not just for the community, it's for Ramsey County too, right? And it's for community to be able to trust government. I know it's hard, I know it's tough, it's not a space that we want to be in and be a part in often. But government needs you to help it be the best that it can be. And the same goes for the county, for government, to be able to trust that these communities know what is best for them. And trust that they have some experience and expertise and knowledge to give, right, and leadership. And so we know that family knows what's best for themselves, work around that. Intergenerational wealth in partnership with Workforce Solution is a good practice. And that a holistic approach to strengthen families, and again, along with to gain the generational worth in partnership with, and I use Workforce Solution, but I think it's all the system, all the areas of support that we can intertwine to get the greatest return that we need. And so continue to be at the table, community. Nicole, I see you back there. And let's all, as a county, I feel like that we have a good county board, if I have to say so.
A great one.
You know, and we're ready to keep up and continue to work from past commissioners, like our chair here, who's done a lot of awesome, great work. Commissioner McGuire, right? And so we want to continue on with the work that has been done and just take us to the next step where we can really see our families being self-sufficient, right? And not dependent on the county, but that is an investment that needs to happen between the two of us. So thank you all for being here today. Thank you all for showing up. And I think with that, we're a little bit early, yay.
Wow.
Just thank you for all being here.
Good job.